Welcome to the Women Inspired Podcast. I'm your host, April Seifert. There is nothing more powerful than a woman who is inspired to action, and that's my number one goal, to inspire you, my listeners, to take action in your lives. Each week, I get to interview some of the most inspiring women, and I'm bringing those interviews to you. Let's do it. Hey everybody, before we get to this week's episode, I have some seriously exciting news. So many of you know how passionate I am about how short and precious life is and how important it is for us to intentionally create the life that is most fulfilling to us. Well, on that note, I have been hard at work to design an in-person workshop to help you take the very first steps toward doing just that. I'm excited to announce that the inaugural run of the Life by Design workshop is scheduled for the first week of December. To say I'm thrilled about this is a serious understatement. It has been a ton of hard work, but I can't wait to share this passion with you and to help you start designing your own best life. The workshop is designed to help you gain clarity on the areas of your life that are causing you the most friction, and then zero in on the one action you're going to take to start improving your day-to-day experience. If you're interested in learning a little bit more, pop over to my website, www.aprilseifert.com, and click on in the header, you can click on Life by Design, or you can go straight to the page, www.aprilseifert.com/workshop, to learn more and also to register. It's time to live like your life depends on it, because friends, it does. I so hope you'll join me. Now, let's move into this week's episode. A quick programming note before we get started. One of the goals that I have is to make sure that every single one of my guests find their podcast recording extremely convenient and extremely comfortable. So to that note, this episode was actually recorded on site at a coffee shop. You're going to hear a little bit more background noise than you typically do when I pull somebody in over the phone. Regardless, it is a phenomenal episode. She is a phenomenal woman, and I'm so excited that you're joining me this week. Hey guys, welcome back to the Women Inspired Podcast. I am so excited that you joined this week because we have an awesome interview. I'm really excited to introduce you all to Jessica Melnik. She is a powerhouse of a woman, and she is the founder of Girls United MN, and we will get into what that organization is in just a moment. So before I get ahead of myself, I just want to welcome Jessica to the podcast.
Hi, I'm really happy to be here. I think this is a great opportunity, and I'm looking forward to you guys finding out more about Girls United MN.
Awesome! So before we dive into that, because I know everybody's going to be really excited to hear about your organization, tell us a little bit about yourself so we can get to know you.
So I'm in 11th grade at Hopkins High School. I've been in the Hopkins School District ever since kindergarten, and I live in the Minnetonka area. I grew up in a typical suburban family, and outside of school, I volunteer at a Russian school. My parents are both immigrants from Belarus. So I grew up going to the Russian school myself, and then now, once having graduated from it, I'm kind of giving back. I also love spending time with my family and friends outside of school, and I work at a nursing home during the week and on the weekends as well.
You are a busy woman. I mean, school is like one thing, but then you've got a lot going on outside of it.
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell me a little bit about Girls United MN. What is it? Just like give me the high level of what it is.
Our mission as girls is to empower and inspire the next generation of young leaders, and it's run by girls for girls.
Okay, so people who are listening to this, I just want you to take a second and put yourself back in your own shoes when you were a junior in high school and think about what you were doing at that age. And I can definitely tell you, I was not starting an organization with a mission as broad as this is. So I think right there, it just is it highlights how amazing you are. So I think that's awesome. You mentioned that it is for girls, by girls. Tell us a little bit about how you got started.
So about 4 years ago, when I was in 7th grade, I was in a pretty rowdy science class. We had a lot of boys and not very many girls, and one day our teacher had decided to split us up, boys and girls, and she told the girls to come up with a group name for the boys and the boys to come up with a group name for the girls. And the boys automatically came up with sandwich makers, and our teacher was really kind of astounded by how they had come up with that, and we had a whole conversation the next day about how that's probably not the right thing to say. And after that, she got a group of about five or six girls together, and we read a book about gender inequality in schools. And for a lot of that, for us, was kind of eye-opening. We definitely never thought about that. I mean, I personally had thought that women gained equal rights once they got the right to vote, so definitely eye-opening for most of us. And then after that, we met once a week in our science teacher's classroom before school, and we read different books throughout the school year. And then the following year, I decided to kind of get more people involved with the organization, and I founded Girls United MN. And so we started meeting once a month with girls in 8th grade, and we invited different speakers from the community to come and talk to us about different social issues that were interesting to us. And so we had people come and talk to us about self-esteem and body image and rape culture all across the board. And then the following year, we decided that we wanted to get more involved in the community and take action on some of the issues that we had been talking about. So we hosted a job fair for the 9th grade girls, and we invited different women and different careers to come and talk to us about how they got there and what it's like to be a woman in their field. And then we also hosted a STEM Sunday for girls in grades 4 through 6 in the western suburbs districts, and we invited junior high math and science teachers to come and do activities surrounding the 4 letters of STEM, so science, technology, engineering, and math. And the high school girls led and facilitated the event, but we had great feedback from both the parents and the elementary school girls, and after that, they had wanted a monthly meeting group, similar to how we had when we first started. And so this past year, we've been meeting with them once a month and continuing to meet with the high school girls once a month as well.
So this thing is growing. This is way bigger than it was in the beginning.
Definitely.
Is this what you had in mind when you had initially started doing this? Did you see it growing into something big, or did you anticipate that it would go that way?
Not really. I think my 8th grade self didn't really think very far ahead at all. I mean, when we first started, we would come to the monthly meeting and then we'd be like, okay, what do we want to talk about at the next one? And then I'd go online and find a speaker in Minnesota that could come and talk to us about that. So it was very step by step, and I think that after a while, people really started to get more involved in it, which kind of pushed me into getting more involved with it too, and I started to get more ambitious and more motivated to keep it growing and getting more people involved and us getting more involved in the community as well.
I love what you just said, because it's something that I talk about a lot in a lot of podcast episodes, and it's something that has been a big theme from a number of different people with really, really wide backgrounds who I've interviewed. And a lot of them talk about how when they start a big goal, or they sort of start doing some sort of big task, they don't really think about anything beyond the next couple of steps. So like you said, you get together and you're doing these monthly meetings, and then, at the end of the meeting, like, all right, what do we want to do next month? And I think that approach that's the way you have to go, because if you would have gotten, together and decided, all right, we're going to build this massive organization and we're going to have these really huge lofty goals, which are totally fine to have, but sometimes in the beginning that can get so crippling, because you don't know, I don't actually know how to get to that end goal. I just know how to do the next step. And so sometimes when you feel like you're just not sure what to do, sometimes just taking that one next step can get you there.
Definitely. I mean, looking back now, I definitely did not think that Girls United of Men would be what it is today if you'd asked me that in 8th grade.
That's so cool. What have you heard from the girls who have participated? So maybe it's from the job fair, maybe it's girls that are younger than you who have benefited from it. Are there any sort of stories, anecdotes, or things that you've heard from people who've participated with you?
The younger girls have definitely, I mean, they've come up to us in school when we came and visited, and they're like, oh, you're from Girls United. I mean, I think that ultimately they look up to us as role models, which was our goal with a lot of the events that we had with the younger girls. And now that we see them regressing and we see them in junior high and they're applying for all these different positions within the organization, I think it definitely shows the growth, and it shows the interest that girls have to be leaders when given the opportunity to. From the older girls, I've definitely heard a lot of positive things. They're really happy that they're involved in something. They're happy that they can demonstrate leadership skills, they can build their leadership skills, and they can talk about issues that aren't really talked about anywhere else in a safe space that they know nobody's gonna go home and be like, oh, you know, Jill said this thing, like, how stupid. That just doesn't happen. And a lot of the topics that we have talked about are really serious and personal, and for everyone to know that what they say won't leave the room is very important.
That's a really amazing opportunity that you're giving these girls, that you're giving them a place to come and explore topics that are not easy to talk about. And that's huge, because you have to have the ability to come in and say something quote unquote stupid, because you're still figuring everything out and you're still learning. So I think that's so cool that you're providing that outlet for people.
Yeah. I think that's definitely the overarching goal of the whole organization, is for girls to be able to express themselves freely in a safe community, and within that they're able to demonstrate leadership skills and take on new tasks and connect with other community leaders to develop themselves as better people as a whole.
So it all sounds very meteoric, like this has been the smoothest road possible. Have you ever encountered any speed bumps or barriers or tough points that you've had to go through?
Definitely. Just to start off, the fact that when I reach out to people to come and speak to us and they hear that we're in high school, or when we first started we were in 8th grade, some people don't necessarily take it as a serious thing, or they don't necessarily sometimes even respond, because they're like, okay, well, what can an 8th grader do, or what can a 9th grader do? And so we've definitely had to overcome some obstacles with the whole age difference. And I think that even with some of the speakers who would come in, sometimes some of the girls would feel like they were getting talked down to. And I think that, I mean, definitely not everyone, and it's definitely been something that we're overcoming. There are so many amazing people out there who have been super supportive of everything, but there are definitely some people that I think don't really understand or know what young people can be capable of when they're given the opportunity to kind of run with an idea. Some other issues that we've had to overcome is just kind of like the boys' perspective on the group as a whole. I know that when we first started, they were like kind of curious about it, and they were like, oh, what are these people doing? Like, they're meeting in the science teacher's room before school. And so at first it was a very innocent curiosity, and then later it kind of grew into something that was like they were teased about or things like that, and it wasn't very pretty. But I think that as we've grown and matured, that definitely has gone away as well, which is good. And I think that now they see the importance of girls having an outlet like this, because I know that when I go into elementary schools or junior high schools and I talk about this opportunity that girls have, sometimes the boys will be like, oh, well, why don't we have a group like this? And oftentimes the teachers will jump in and say, if you think that it's important for a boys group like this to form, for them to develop leadership skills and have a safe space to talk about things like this, then nobody's stopping you from it. And I think that realizing that we could all do something like this if we wanted is really important.
That's so awesome. There was, oh gosh, one of my friends, acquaintances, whatever, on Facebook posted this quote recently where she said something like, the reason why weak men are afraid of strong women is because they should be. And not like strong women are going to go out there and like take what's theirs and, do anything that's, really awful. But the point is exactly what you're making, that women and women of whatever age who are strong and have the right conviction and motivation and they're putting their talent to work, they're able to accomplish things. So it's not to be taken lightly that, you had this goal and of course you're going to go chase after it and you're going to accomplish something. So it should be a little nervous. Like, you're doing things, you're making things happen. And it's especially nerve-wracking, I can imagine, when, they're saying, oh, well, why don't we have this group for us? Well, go make one.
Mm-hmm.
It's easy to sit and complain. It's harder to, get off your butt and go do something.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about where are you guys at today? Where do you guys see yourself going?
Well, most of the girls that kind of contribute to the planning and the organizing are in 11th grade, like I am, and we'll be graduating in 2 years. And so this year we're kind of thinking about how we can extend what we've learned, both with the different topics that we've talked about and also all the skills and different organizations that we've come to kind of partner with, how we can pass that on to younger girls so that when we graduate, the group can continue to grow and just be here. And so we have started a leaders in training group for junior high girls, and right now, actually by this Friday, they'll be applying for a position with the core planning group. And so in the end, the junior high girls will be coming to our planning meetings and to our organizing meetings, and we'll be kind of training them in on what we've been doing. So that's kind of the end goal with that. And we'll also be hosting leadership events with the junior high girls so that they also hear from community leaders that what they do matters and the work that they'd be doing in the future does have importance. And then with the elementary school girls, the junior high girls in the core planning group will be planning another STEM Sunday and a body image day in the spring. And in 2 weeks, we're going to my old elementary school to paint murals with elementary school 5th and 6th graders in their bathroom. And so we bought a whole bunch of canvases and we're going to paint them with different positive affirmations that we think will hopefully grow their self-esteem, because I know that 5th and 6th grade is often when that starts to plummet in the wrong direction. And hopefully with these messages, it'll kind of brighten their day and reassure them that everything's going to be okay.
What do you think it is about that age that leads people to have that experience? Because I think, those folks who are listening to this, I bet everybody, if you really think back, there was a time where, I think about my daughter, she's almost 2, so she's, young, but she runs around and has no concern for, anything in the world. And, much less like what her body looks like or anything like that. And you could probably say the same thing for maybe a 5-year-old little girl or even older. And at some point we learn that we're supposed to be worried about that. What do you think's going on there?
I think a lot of it has to do with what we see on TV or what we see in magazines and books. I think the media definitely has a huge impact on what little girls see themselves having to look like or having to act like. And I also think that as you get older, you start to mature and your body starts to change. And I think that girls aren't really aware of what's happening in their own body. And then they also have to start thinking about how it should look. And so I think it's just a lot that's piled onto them in one small increment of time. And I think that they kind of lose that innocence and the confidence that they had as younger girls who thought that they could do anything, which is really unfortunate because that definitely shouldn't happen, and they still can do anything if they want to. But, I mean, it's happening right now, and so we hope that with these murals, maybe even a little bit, it'll boost somebody's self-esteem.
That's so cool. I mean, it's part of the reason why I love doing this podcast is I like bringing my audience examples of women who are doing incredible things as just to prove that it's possible. So, you know, we talked a little bit as we were prepping for this interview where, I mean, people don't try to do things that they think are impossible. They need an example. They need to have seen just that one person has accomplished it. And I think what's cool is that not only will those murals do that for those girls at that school, but they'll see you guys coming in there, you know, fiercely confident and with things to say and a message to get out there, and you're doing this in such a loud way. So I think just you as an example of a person are going to be such a motivating force for those younger girls who really need an example.
Yeah, I think it's difficult because a lot of the things that they see on TV aren't necessarily the best examples. I mean, there's definitely things out there that are really positive and they reinforce positive body image and positive self-esteem, but then there's a lot of things that kind of degrade what they look like now or how they should look, and that's definitely not what they should be hearing or seeing at their age. And I know I mean, it's not like it didn't impact me. I know that when I saw those magazines or when I saw the girls looking a certain way on TV, I was like, oh, well, why don't I look like that? And I think that this group, too, has also kind of allowed all of us to overcome that and to realize that the media and the TV and everyone is doing that to make money. It's not necessarily, this is how you should look because whatever, it's been proven or something like that. There's an ulterior motive, and I think that maybe 5th and 6th graders, it's too early for them to understand that, but if we allow them kind of an outlet for them to kind of turn their, you know, heads away from that, then maybe it'll help in the long run.
Totally. Yeah. There's, I mean, I think one of the easiest ways or one of the best ways to learn a topic, and in this case, learn a lesson, is to teach it to somebody else. Because somehow, in trying to break it down into its components, and try to make it clear and understandable to another person, somehow you reinforce that to yourself. So I think you are probably doing yourself a really amazing service that maybe in the beginning, you know, it felt more like I'm going to give to other people and we as a group are going to do this, but I think you're probably getting a ton out of this as well because you're trying to get this message out to other people in a very clear way. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. So who inspires you? What type of person, or maybe it's a person specifically? I don't know.
Well, my mom and my dad definitely inspire me. I mean, they've always been very supportive of whatever I decide to do, and they've been really supportive of this group and kind of my efforts of whatever it is that we're doing next. The science teacher that was in that class that day, she has definitely been very supportive and very helpful throughout this whole journey. I mean, just today I went and dropped off the canvases that we're going to be putting in the bathroom at the junior high for her to decorate, for her to help us with, and so she's definitely been very helpful, and I definitely look up to her a lot because, I mean, she's a great person, and she's somebody that I know I look up to, and I know that a lot of other people look up to as well. The people in the group are super inspiring. All the girls that are part of it, 4th through 12th grade, I look up to all of them. All of them have different stories to tell and different experiences to share that sometimes they don't have the chance to do. And I've definitely learned so much from all of them. And I think that that's definitely been the most inspirational part of this whole journey is learning from other people my age, because that's something that we're not always given the chance to do.
Totally. Is there anything that you would do if you weren't afraid? Are you afraid of anything? You seem pretty dang confident.
I think taking risks definitely isn't my strongest suit. Just because I guess I am scared to really fail. I mean, I guess everyone is on some level, but putting myself out there has definitely, I mean, I've gotten better at it, but it's been always something that I'm like, oh, well, what are other people going to think? But from 8th grade to 11th grade, I've definitely changed, and I'm definitely overcoming that fear, but it's probably still there a little bit.
That makes sense. If I'm being 100% honest, I'm just going to say I'm 37 and it is still there. So you are well on your way and well ahead of where I was when I was your age, that is for sure. So thinking way ahead, this is way ahead, but any idea of what you want to do with yourself? I mean, you know, you're accomplishing a ton now, but what are you thinking? Future?
Oh boy.
I'm not going to hold you to any of this too, so.
Right now, I want to do something in politics, maybe something, I know that I definitely don't want a desk job or anything like that. I want to be giving back to the community in the future. I don't know what shape or form that'll take. Right now I'm thinking about politics, but I don't really know.
Awesome. You have some time to figure it out.
Yeah.
I kind of put you on the spot, like, hey, what do you want to do in 5 years? Like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I couldn't answer that if somebody asked me that, so that's a little bit unfair. So thinking about the women who are listening to this, women who come here for inspiration, women who probably have big goals that they're trying to accomplish, or something that is kind of tapping them on the shoulder that won't leave them alone, that is begging for their attention, something that, you know, they've always wanted to do, fears of their own, insecurities of their own. Through everything that you've done, talking with these, you know, younger girls and going through these challenges and growing this organization, what advice do you have?
I think it's important for older women to listen to what the younger people are saying, and I think that being open-minded as to what younger people want to do and what they want to change, and listening to the problems they think that they see is important, because it gives younger girls and boys a chance to express their feelings and express concern that they have about a topic, or kind of give them an outlet to say, this is what I want to do and this is how I need your help. And I think that adults definitely should be supportive of what the younger generation wants to pursue. And so I think that the main advice that I would have is to listen to younger girls and keep an open mind about what they have to say, and not jump to conclusions as to, oh, well, they're, you know, in 6th grade, what can they really have to say? I think that it's important to listen to them first, and then you can make your own opinions about it.
That's awesome advice. I love it. So before we wrap up today, I have to ask you the last question that I ask every single person that I interview, and that is for your favorite motivational song to add to our Spotify Power playlist.
Probably I Will Survive or Don't Stop Believing.
I love it. I love it so much. Both great contributions. I will add them both. This has been phenomenal. I'm so excited I got connected to you. I'm so excited to learn about Girls United MN. You are one of the most, you know, articulate, poised, thoughtful, confident women that I think I've ever interviewed. You're just phenomenal, and I'm so excited to follow you and to continue to see where this organization is headed.
Thank you. It's been a joy to be talking to you, and I love the opportunity, and I hope that we can continue to see where this goes. I mean, I don't really know where it's going to go either, so we'll see.
Awesome. So when everybody wants to come and learn more, where can they find information about Girls United MN?
They can email me, or we are also having a kind of informational fundraising event on November 19th from 3 to 4 at the Golden Valley Library, and you'll be able to meet the core planning group of the high school girls and maybe the junior high girls, and we'll have a presentation about what we've done in the past, our goals for the future, and then if you're willing to donate, you can, but there's no obligation at all, and I think that'd be a great opportunity for us to meet you and for you to kind of get to know more about what we're doing and what our plans are.
Amazing. I will also make sure on your show notes page to link to, I think you have a new Facebook group.
Yeah.
So that'd be awesome. And then any other URLs and things like that where people can come and find more information.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being on. This was just such a great opportunity to learn more about what you're doing and also to just see the amazing things that younger women can do and accomplish. It is incredible.
Thank you.
Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed that episode with Jessica Melnik. Now, this episode is a call to action if I have ever heard one. Just think about this for a second. Jessica hasn't graduated from high school yet, but she single-handedly started an organization that has grown into a movement that is going to live on after she leaves and goes to college. That takes some serious guts. I mean, how many times has there been something that you wanted to do, but you let things like self-doubt and fear and anxiety over what others might think hold you back? I know that I've been in that situation a number of times, and I think we can all learn from the example that Jessica is setting. I mean, think about how she started. She saw the need for a safe place for girls to get together and discuss issues that affect their lives, so she just got a group of girls together. And in the beginning, they decided month by month what they were going to do at the next meeting. One step at a time. And really, that's how progress on any big goal happens. No one gets to fast track something like this. So you figure out what the first step is, then you take it. Then you figure out where to go from there. So my question to you is, what's your big goal? The one that you're sitting on right now and a little bit worried about what others might think, or maybe you're worried about not really knowing quite how to accomplish it or what to do or what path to take or maybe you feel like you don't have the right skill set. Hypothetically, let's just start there. If you were to decide to go after that goal, what would the very first tiny step be? And what if you were to just take that first step? That's all I'm asking you to do, just one tiny first step. And then what if you looked around at that vantage point and just, see whether the next step becomes any clearer? The goal is to start with the first one tiny step. That's what I challenge you to do this week. All right, friends, that's all for this week. Please don't forget to stop over to www.aprilseifert.com/workshop. I should practice that. I'll practice that for next time. To learn more about my brand spanking new Life by Design workshop and to secure your seat. And until next time, have an inspiring week.